Hey everybody, Stacey O'Flanagan here, the Colourful Artist. This is going to be just a quick tutorial for anybody who is very new to alcohol inks. So I'm talking the very basics or absolute beginners of alcohol inks. If you're looking to learn more about the medium and interested in learning how it works, this is for you. So what are alcohol inks? Alcohol inks are highly pigmented, concentrated inks that are super fast drying, and they are used on non-porous surfaces. So you can use them on tile, metal, glass, or YUPO paper. And this is YUPO paper. This is what it looks like. It's a plastic synthetic paper and it's non-porous, so the alcohol ink won't soak into it. This is my favourite thing to use with alcohol inks. But if you are starting out, you might want to consider using tiles as your medium, because they can be wiped clean, you can start again, you can really get a feel for the inks and how they move without having to spend a lot of money, because the YUPO paper is quite expensive. There's an alternative paper, it's slightly cheaper than the YUPO paper. It's mineral paper and it has a kind of grittier texture. It's nice to use and I would use it sometimes, but YUPO paper is still my favourite if you're sitting down to do a nice piece and you want to invest. The YUPO paper would be for you. So the alcohol inks come in an assortment of colours, and I have storing them. They need to be stored upright, and I know there was problems with the lids, and I think that they have corrected that. They were leaking, so I've only just got a new order of inks with the new lid on them, so hopefully they don't leak. But it would be a good idea to purchase something like this so that you can store your inks upright. This is just an acrylic makeup holder for makeup brushes. They sell them on Amazon, I think, so they're handy enough to store your inks. And these are the various inks by Copic to refill the Copic markers, and they work really well. And an alternative to both of them inks, if people are interested, are the pop markers. You can buy these on AliExpress. They're $1.50 each. They don't come in a huge range of colours, so that's kind of like a drawback for them, but they are really cheap. So if you're starting out and you want to just try out the medium, it might be something that you want to consider, but I would suggest that you invest in the better inks if you're if you really love the medium and you want to keep on doing it. So this is the isopropyl alcohol that I use 99%. You can use blending solution as well, which I'll be doing in a later video. I don't have any blending solution today left, so I'm going to be using the alcohol. I prefer this anyway. It separates the ink in a different way. I will do a video on the difference between blending ink and alcohol ink after this. So to start out, you might want to get yourself a pipette, or you can use a paintbrush, or you can just free pour if you like. This is just my preferred method. I find you have a little bit more control when you have the pipette. And I use, to dry my inks, to quick dry them, is my heat gun. This is by Dovecraft, and they sell these on Amazon for €15. Now, there's many different ways to dry your ink or not dry it. You can let it dry naturally, and you can heat dry it. A lot of people will use hair dryers on a cold setting. I prefer the heat gun just because it's a little bit, the nozzle's a little bit smaller, so there's more control for it. But the thing to note with this, if you're going to use your heat gun or if you're using your hair dryer on the warmer setting, two things you need to remember. The first thing is that the isopropyl alcohol and the alcohol inks are they're an irritant, and they are the vapors are very dangerous, especially if you're going to use a heat gun, because when you heat the alcohol ink, it's called smoking alcohol. So when you're inhaling it, it's going straight into your bloodstream, and it's really bad for your liver, your internal organs, your lungs. Very bad for you, particularly if you're heating the ink. So what I would suggest is an absolute necessity is a mask, a vapor mask. This one is Force 8 by JSP. I'm not sure about the brands in America. This is an Irish company, I think, or an English company. So you buy the mask and you will buy the mouthpiece, and these are replaceable, so you replace these every month. Now when you're buying your filters for your mask, you need to make sure, because all filters are different and they will filter out different things, you're looking for something that will filter out organic vapours, because that's what the alcohol ink is. So make sure to check on the back. They'll usually have a little checklist of what they filter out, and make sure that it is suitable for alcohol inks. And make sure you replace your filter, if they're replaceable, that they're replaced every month, because you won't feel it until it's starting to have an effect on your lungs, and then you're already sick. So I'm going to just take a small piece of YUPO and I'll change the view so we can get started. Okay, so there are a few different ways that people can lay down the inks, but I'm going to do my favourite way first to show you how I like to do it. So what I like to do is I like to pre-mix the alcohol ink. So a couple of drops of alcohol ink with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol. Some wild plum. So it's quite concentrated, the ink, and what a lot of people I noticed kind of make the mistake of is they think that to get that really bright, vibrant colour that they can't dilute the ink too much, but actually the opposite is true, because if you really want your colours to be really bright and really pop, you're going to have to dilute it with the alcohol ink so that you can see that transparency. The more concentrated you keep it, the darker it is, and the harder it is to see how gorgeous the colours are. So this is just some sailboat blue and some alcohol. Now I'll just take my pipette. I'm going to lay it down on the YUPO. Now, you can leave your piece to dry naturally, and if you do, you will kind of get this whimsical, blended together, smooth look about it, which is really nice. But I like to add some texture to my pieces, so I'm going to dry it with my heat gun. Now you'll notice that I'm moving the heat gun around. I'm not keeping it in the same place for more than a couple of seconds, because the YUPO is plastic, so the heat gun will warp it if you keep it in the same place for long enough. This is usually the reason why people prefer to either blow it dry themselves or use a hairdryer on the cooled setting, because the heat gun obviously doesn't have a cooled setting. So you'll notice as well that because I've used the heat gun now, I have these folds in the ink. This is kind of the only way to get this technique is to blow dry your piece to get these gorgeous folds in it. So I'm going to just take a tiny little bit of sunshine yellow and a Q-tip to add some detail into the piece. So the sunshine yellow is mixed with some isopropyl alcohol, and just adding some dots around, and you can flick it as well. Take a little flick. And there it is, just a basic alcohol ink piece to get you started. Now I'll just show you how the pop markers react to the alcohol ink and what kind of colours we're looking at here. So this is just a little purple. I'll show you some yellow. And this is also a good idea why you should wear gloves, because the ink will stain for a long time. So this is yellow and some pink. Now I'm just going to add some more plain alcohol so you can really see what them colours are looking like. Now, and I think they are really gorgeous, vibrant colour. For the price, you can't go wrong, except for that they don't have a great range of colours. It's definitely an ink that I would add to the collection anyway, just to have there, because for me it can sometimes be hard to get. There's only 2 places in Ireland that stock the alcohol inks, so it's very hard when they run out and I'm left waiting on inks. I like to have a little stock of the pop marker inks just in case. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and it has inspired you to get started with alcohol inks, and I will do some more videos detailing different techniques, and I will do the Copic markers next time, and I will do blending solution as well. So see you guys.